Hey, travel agents. Brittany Roberts here from the Travel Agent School podcast. And I know this website is probably making you go, what in the heck is going on? They always have weird stuff on here. But this is Answer the Public. This is another great resource that I use for market research. I highly recommend it if you're at the beginning of your travel agent business and journey. It's a great way to really better understand your ideal dream clients and customers, to figure out and more specifically narrow down exactly who you want to work with, who is the best person for you to work with, and to understand the questions they're asking, what they're searching for online. So you get a ton of content ideas for social media, for your blog, for your podcast, for your YouTube channel, whatever it is you're doing, however it is that you're showing up online and positioning yourself as an expert and authority. And it's also just good because you know what words to use. We always want to try to use the exact words and phrases and keywords that our ideal dream clients are using. That's going to make our copy, any written content we have, more compelling. It's going to be more likely to convert, which means someone who's just maybe randomly scrolling, or someone who's never heard of you, or maybe someone who's like a passive follower of you either becomes a raving fan instantly, or they become a customer instantly, which is amazing, or they just have a higher, deeper interest. They start following you maybe more intently, things like that. So we want to make sure we're getting into that person's mind. That's why this site is so great. So with this website, Answer the Public, a couple things you want to make sure you know before you start searching. First thing is, I'm using the free version. I do not have the pro version. I do not think that most people need it. I think it's really easy to get stuck in the research and SEO keyword rabbit hole. I don't want you to get stuck there because I really want you to be taking action, and not just by learning and doing research, but actually doing things. So you can upgrade to pro if you want. I am using the free version, which I believe is 3 searches a day. We will confirm that right now. So super simple. You're just going to type in here, what is it that you think people are searching for? Now, you want to make sure you have the language and the country right. It defaults to United Kingdom. I'm not sure if it's a British-made app. I honestly don't know. I'm a little embarrassed for not knowing. But I'm going to click United States. English is fine. And I'm going to keep with the example of solo travel I've been using. So I'm going to say first solo trip, because I'm going to imagine that I am serving women who want to start solo traveling, but they're not really sure where to start. They maybe have some fears, some things that they're scared of. And so I'm thinking, okay, if I had never done solo travel before, this would probably be a term that I would use. I would probably search for first solo trip. So I type that in and I scroll down, and it gives you some really awesome mind maps and visuals to help you kind of understand what it is people are asking and searching for. And this is really great for blog posts, by the way, and podcast episodes, because it really gives you great titles. So the more bright green it is, the more likely it is to be searched. So for example, how to plan a first solo trip, how to plan your first solo trip, okay? When to take first solo trip, where to take first solo trip. So you can see these are the questions. Where should I go on my first solo trip? So that is what we call a long tail keyword phrase. That means someone, at least one person, probably a lot of people, probably thousands of people, have typed in these exact words into Google to search. Okay, so that's like a nice little visual, and you can save that, by the way. You can save the image. And I highly recommend you do, because it'll give you content ideas when you're on those days when you're just feeling stuck and uninspired. And then it does it again here. So first solo trip ideas, first solo travel. What else in here? Oh, first solo trip to India. That one's very bright. So that makes sense, because if someone is looking at solo travel for the first time, and maybe doing something in the States isn't so intimidating, but something in India where the culture is very different, where it's a different language, that might be something that you want to focus on first. Okay, first solo trip to plan. Okay, first solo trip to New York. Okay, so all that stuff. So those are just some ideas. Okay. And then a little more down there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is where it gets really cool. So this is actually what I call the Google ABC method of SEO research. I will upload another video about that soon onto this channel, if it's not here already by the time that you're looking and watching this. But basically, this takes the terms that you searched and it kind of puts it in ABC order. Okay, so my first solo trip abroad. So that might be a really good story for you to tell in content. Like, what was your first solo trip abroad like? What are some things that people should know before they go? Maybe what are some misadventures that you had to make people feel like you're relatable and that they can understand you? Let's see. Okay, first solo backpacking trip. So maybe if you focus on the outdoor and adventure niche, how can you get someone ready for doing their first one alone? That can be really scary, especially if you've never, maybe never even backpacked before, but especially backpack solo or without a group. Okay, best first solo backpacking trip. So this person, we have to think of user intent here. This person has probably already decided they're going to do a solo backpacking trip. They want the best first one. Like, how can you make that first one? This is really cool. I didn't even think about this. First solo balloon flight around the world. That's cool. So maybe that could be an experience that you either look into yourself and share on your own social media channels so people can look at it. All this kind of stuff. So you can just get a ton of ideas just from scrolling through here. For solo hiking trip, first solo flight gifts, first solo flight gone wrong. That could be a really interesting and engaging story. Okay, so all kinds of stuff here, right? So that gives you all kinds of content ideas. It really lets you know what people are looking for. I would save this. You could just go up to here and download CSV and it'll save it for you. See, it pops up there in that window. And then you have, I think, 2 more searches. So let's just see if we have 2 more searches. I'm actually not sure. I think it's 3 for the first one. So we're going to go up here to new search. So that was first solo trip. So let's think about what other ones they'd have. Let's make sure our country and language is also set correctly. United States, English. Okay. So solo travel as a woman. Let's see if that brings up anything. Also, my internet's super slow, so I'm going to pause it for a second. All right, so I had 50 questions. Ooh, lots of good ones. Oh, this is a good one. Can you travel alone as a woman? Oh my gosh, that could be such a good one for you. That would probably be like a pillar post if you were focusing on solo female travel, solo travel for women. You could say, yes, you absolutely can, and here is how, and here's why you should, or how to travel safely as a woman. That could be another post that you make because that's a really big concern for women who are wanting to travel solo. Let's see, what else? Travel alone. Yeah, pretty similar. Where to travel alone as a woman? Where are the best countries for doing that? Yeah, so many content ideas just from doing that. Where can a single woman travel alone? So that's interesting, right? Instead of saying solo, they said single. So maybe you want to think about adding that in to the words that they use. And if I were actually doing this, I would have my Google Doc open. I do have that link down in the description of this video below. If you have not made a copy of it yet, it's an awesome document that literally helps you track what people are asking, what people are saying they need help with in things like Facebook groups, on Quora boards, and on Reddit. It is a great tool to help you come up with compelling copy in your social media content and in your long form content so that it converts, makes people take action. Okay, awesome. This is really specific. Solo travel woman Bali. So a lot of women are looking to do solo travel to Bali. So that might be a good thing to think about. Maybe you plan a group trip to Bali for solo women travelers if you're in the groups niche, or you could just sell that trip for maybe a few months. Solo travel for Black women or as a Black woman. Okay, so if that's your niche or if you have personal experience with that, if you relate to that, that could be something that you could really incorporate into your brand origin story and talk about as a personal brand. Solo travel women destinations, best destinations to travel as a woman. So much good stuff here. So I would also download this as a CSV, and then I think you have 1 more search. So let's see if we do. So I can't quite remember if I get 2 searches or 3 or more or less. So I'm just going to go to new search again and see. I'm recording this in February of 2022. So let's see what the search max is for free users. United States. And I'm going to type in group trips for solo female travelers. Now this is another long tail keyword, but it's one that I have found is really popular when I was doing research before while I was preparing for this video. Okay, so I've already hit the maximum number of free searches. I did 2. I think it used to be 3, but either way. So you can upgrade to pro, but you really don't need to when you're first getting started, because the biggest thing for me and for you is just to get started. I want to help you and support you as much as I can. So like I said, if you haven't already, definitely join us in the Travel Agent School podcast Facebook group. I will link that down below. I will also link the related episode on the Travel Agent School podcast in case you want to hear the whole strategy for this and all of the other resources and ways that I do SEO and keyword research for my content for dream clients and how I kind of sneakily and ethically spy and sleuth on my ideal clients to get to know them better. I also have an awesome document so you can keep all this stuff in mind and organized, and so that anytime you're feeling stuck on creating content, you can just go back to that document for inspiration and ideas. And then I also have, and I'll talk more about this in another video, which should be linked down below as well, how to do this same kind of research in Facebook groups. And in that, I have a link to a master mega list of Facebook groups in travel niches. So whatever your niche is, I've probably found a travel group for it on Facebook, and you can save yourself a ton of time in trying to find a group and just use that list. It is an ever evolving list, so it's one of those that you'll want to make a copy. And yeah, I think that's it for now. Oh, you're also welcome to follow me on Instagram. If you prefer that over Facebook, you can follow me on Instagram over at Hello Travel Pro.